Okay, so this is the second page of our packet. Here we have tint, tone, and shade. So tint is pure color and we're adding white to it. So we're going to start here with our pure color, and with each step we're going to add a little bit more white until it gets to the white. Tone is adding gray to it. So we're going to start with our pure color. We're going to have a little bit of gray until we get to pure gray. And shade is adding black to it. So we're going to start with pure color and go all the way to black. Now I have filled my palette from the front of my packet. But I still have really some good viable paint here, and I also don't want to put this paint down the sink because that'll clog my sink. So the thing I'm going to do is I've got a paper plate, and I'm going to just mix on my paper plate so I can still use this paint that's in my palette, but this gives me a little bit more room for mixing. So I need to pick a color that I want to use. I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to just do red for my first one for my tint. So the pure color is the color without anything mixed to in it. So there we go. We just have pure red. Okay. My next one is going to be red with a little bit of white added. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of my red and I'm going to add just a little bit of white. Not a lot, just a little. Because I have to do this in steps. It needs to gradually get lighter until it's all the way to white. Now I need to make sure that I mix it purely, like I'm mixing it all the way so there's not, like I don't see any individual red or white in my mixture. And I'm going to put that color here. Alright, so my next step is a little bit more white. So I'm going to take some more and put that here. A little bit more. Now I have some extra here. I feel like I added too much white on that one, so I have some extra that I'm going to already use. So there needs to be a visual difference. It needs to be gradually getting, like, no two should be exactly the same. There should be a difference between those values. And there shouldn't be any big jumps either. Like it's very gradually getting lighter. And my last one is pure white. So I'm going to rinse my brush before I do this one. And just put pure white here. Now it's kind of nonsensical because the paper is white, but I still painted it white. It looks a little bit different. Alright, so the next one we need gray for. I only have a little bit of gray in my palette, so my first step is going to be making sure that I mix more gray. So I'm going to take some white. There's a little bit of red mixed in there, but that's okay. And I'm going to take a little, so I want a medium gray for this, and I want to use the same gray throughout this entire thing. I don't want to switch up my grays, so I want to make sure I have enough. So that's a good medium gray right there. I could add a little bit more black maybe. Now I could do the same color and it'll show my difference, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to just stick with red so we can see the difference of adding a gray to the red versus just adding white. Alright, so I'm going to do my pure color again. And you know what? Just to save time, I'm going to do my pure color down here too. Alright, so my next one is taking my red and adding a little bit of gray to it. So I'm going to put some red right here, and I'm going to add just a little bit of gray. Again, I don't want it to jump big time. I want it to slowly get gray. So just add a little bit of gray, and I'm going to paint that there. Alright, so you can kind of see that it's starting to, like, you know, it almost changed to be like a little bit of a purple. Alright, so I'm going to add a little bit more gray, mix that in. A little bit more. So again, it's not any big steps here. We're just gradually getting more and more gray, more and more toned down until we don't even see any color in it. It is just gray. So this last one is just going to be pure gray. So it's gradually fading out to gray. All right, so the last one is adding black to it to make shades. Now you're going to have to be very careful whenever you're adding black to a color because a little bit of black goes a long way. So I'm going to again take my red and put that on my plate. Now instead of using my big brush to grab some black, I'm going to use a smaller brush just because then I'll have a little bit more control as how much I add. So I'm going to just add a little bit of black to this. Because remember, I want it to gradually fade into black. I don't want it to go instant. So that's just a little bit darker there. All right, I'm going to rinse, add a little bit more black. Now, I might have just added too much. So what to do if you added too much? Well, you need to come back with your red and try to balance that out. So I'm going to take some red and kind of balance out the fact that I added too much black. It happens. All right, put that there. So again, it should be slightly darker, but not like really, really drastically darker. And then the last one is my pure black. There we go. So this shows your tints, which is adding white. This shows your tones, which is adding gray. And this shows your shade, which is adding black.